I think we've all had that feeling. It's the end of the day. You've been running around nonstop since, what, 7 a.m.?
Oh, yeah.
Answering emails, checking notifications, putting out fires, and then you look back and feel like you did, well, nothing.
Nothing that actually mattered.
Exactly. Nothing that moved the needle on your real goals. The time just disappeared.
It vaporized.
Yeah. And we recently got some source material from a listener facing this exact problem. Let's call her Amina. She gets up early, she's trying to be productive, but still feels like time is just constantly running away from her.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually figured out the root cause herself. She said it was no plan, just waking up, grabbing the phone, and starting randomly.
And that random start is everything.
Okay, let's unpack this because that is where this whole deep dive really begins.
It really is. I mean, that's the key insight. Amina realized she wasn't failing because she wasn't trying hard enough.
Right. Not a lack of hustle.
No, it was a lack of intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
When you start your day randomly, you're basically just, inviting chaos in.
Yeah.
And that is the absolute enemy of doing important work.
Exactly. And our source material introduces us to Lila, who's sort of Amina's guide on this.
Her expert guide, yeah.
So our mission today is really a shortcut. We're going to pull out Lila's foundational principles to help you move from that random feeling to, focused action.
It's about getting past that guilt of I should be working harder and into a strategy.
A strategy of I need to be working smarter.
Exactly. And Lila's whole philosophy, it doesn't start with an app or a calendar. It
Wow.
starts with a really big shift in perspective.
She calls it personal stewardship.
Yeah. And the foundational analogy she uses is, well, it's pretty powerful.
Time is capital.
What's fascinating here is that she takes time, which feels endless, and she connects it to something that we all know is scarce.
Money.
Money. She says, flat out, time is a resource, just like money. If you don't manage it well, you lose it.
Okay, that analogy. It's powerful, I get it. But doesn't it kind of break down? I mean,
How so?
well, with money, if I lose $100 today, I can, potentially earn it back tomorrow. But time it's fixed. Once 3 p.m. is gone, it's just gone forever.
But that's precisely why the analogy works so well.
Okay.
The very fact that it's not renewable is why you have to treat it with that same reverence.
Yeah.
We track our money, right? We have budgets. We know where every dollar is going because it's scarce.
So you're saying we should audit our time?
Precisely.
Mm.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the first step in managing your money is knowing where it's going. Lila is saying do the same thing for your time. Find the leaks.
So you stop mindlessly scrolling for 30 minutes.
Just so you wouldn't just throw cash in the garbage. It forces you to be intentional. If Amina's problem was starting randomly, the fix has to be allocating that resource before the day even starts.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've got the mindset. Time is capital. It needs a budget. What's the first concrete step Lila gives?
It's surprisingly low tech. I think that's a relief for a lot of people who are, drowning in apps and systems.
Right.
Her first step is just write a to-do list. Every morning.
Pen and paper.
Pen and paper. Simple.
And the real power here seems to be in the constraints. She says 2 things. Keep it simple and focus only on the most important tasks.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 things, not this massive brain dump of every single little thing you have to do.
Because that's just overwhelming.
It's instant decision fatigue.
Oh,
If you start your day with a list of 20 items you've already lost, you'll waste so much energy just deciding what to do next.
so the list isn't a catalog.
No, it's about highlighting what she calls what really matters. It's your daily budget for your most precious resource. Spend it wisely.
I do appreciate how realistic she is, though. Amina asked the question I think we all have, do you follow the list exactly? Because I know I make a plan, and then the moment something unexpected happens.
The whole thing goes out the window. And Lila's answer is such a breath of fresh air. She says, not always, but it helps me stay focused. It reminds me of what really matters.
So it's a compass, not a contract.
Exactly. It's a mental anchor. So when the day gets crazy, you don't just get swept away. You look back at your list and it pulls you back to what's important.
Speaking of getting pulled off track, Amina brings up the universal enemy of productivity, right?
The phone.
The phone. Easy distractions, social media, all the messages. If the to-do list is the compass, the phone is like this giant magnet messing with it.
And this is where that resource management idea gets really practical. I mean, if your attention is currency, social media notifications are basically a tax.
A tax you don't even realize you're paying.
Right. And Lila's counter strategy for this is It's pretty strict. She says you have to set specific hours for screen time.
And she gives a really specific example for this. She says, check your messages only after you finish your main tasks. I'd never thought of it that way, but you're essentially turning social media into a reward. It completely flips the script.
That's a classic behavioral psychology trick. You're taking something that gives your brain a big dopamine hit, getting likes, seeing messages, and you're using it to bribe yourself to do the hard, important work first.
But that sounds incredibly hard to actually do. I mean, we spent years being trained to react to that little ping instantly.
It is hard. And Lila is honest about that. She tells Amina it was difficult at first, but the payoff was huge. She said she felt more peaceful and productive.
So it's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
A little discipline up front for, sustained clarity and calm. You go from being reactive to everyone else's demands to being proactive about your own goals.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. We think time management is all about the grind, right? Working more, working longer. You feel guilty if you take a break. And Amina had that exact same idea.
Yeah, she asked Lila if she ever gets burned out.
Which is when Layla brings in this super counterintuitive piece of the puzzle. Rest.
This is probably the most critical part of the whole thing because it just completely challenges that hustle culture mindset.
Right.
Amina said, I thought time management was only about working more. And she admits she feels really guilty when she rests.
And that guilt is so destructive. It's this idea that any minute you're not producing is a minute wasted. That rest is something you earn only after everything is done.
Which is never.
Which is never.
But Lila she completely redefines the whole thing.
Yeah.
She says good time management has to include rest and sleep and self-care.
It's not optional.
It's not. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the body and mind, they aren't machines. You can't run them continuously. They're high-performance systems that need scheduled recovery. Non-negotiable.
So if time is capital, then rest is the mandatory maintenance budget.
That's a great way to put it. You wouldn't buy a Ferrari and then refuse to change the oil because you're too busy driving it.
You service it so it runs at its best.
Exactly. Rest is scheduled maintenance for your brain. Layla tells Amina, rest is not a waste of time. It helps your mind and body recover. It's the meeting point of productivity and wellness.
So for you listening, if you're feeling that guilt whenever you step away from your desk, this is your permission slip. Integrating recovery isn't a reward, it's a strategy.
A strategy to make the hours you are working more focused and more effective.
Okay, so let's make this practical. Amina's big goal was learning English and improving myself, which is, a huge kind of vague goal. It can feel paralyzing.
Totally. That feeling of, I have so much to do, that's where people give up.
Yeah.
They see this giant mountain they have to climb, and they think they need some 5-hour-a-day study plan from day one.
And Layla's advice completely sidesteps that paralysis.
It does. Her strategy for a big goal like that is just so simple.
Start small.
Start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. She tells Amina that even 30 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
It's the idea of minimum viable effort. What's the smallest possible step I can take today that still moves me forward?
And you have to break that 30 minutes down. So for Amina, it's not just study English. It's 10 minutes of flashcards, 10 minutes listening to a news clip.
Right, something specific. That chunking fights the ambiguity that always leads to procrastination.
Exactly. And the power of that small commitment, that 30 minutes, is that it's manageable. You can do it even on a bad day. And if you do it every day, the results just compound like crazy over time.
It's not about the intensity of the effort, it's about the consistency.
The relentless, almost boring consistency. That's what wins.
Which brings us to the final mindset shift she talks about. Because, you're not going to be perfect, you're going to miss a day.
And this might be the most freeing idea of all. She tells Amina, be patient with yourself. Consistency is more important than perfection.
Perfectionism is the enemy here. It tells you that if you mess up once, the whole thing's ruined, so you might as well quit.
Exactly. But consistency says, okay, you missed Tuesday. So what? On Wednesday morning, you just get right back to it. No drama, no guilt.
It's a flexible habit, not a rigid plan that shatters the second it hits reality.
Precisely.
So, what does this all mean? We started with Amina feeling lost, time slipping away because she was starting her day randomly. And now we have a clear blueprint. First, see your time as capsule, budget it. Second, anchor your day with a short, simple to-do list.
Right, to fight that decision fatigue. Third, set boundaries with distractions, especially your phone. Use those distractions as a reward.
And finally, and maybe most importantly, schedule rest. mandate it. It's maintenance, not a luxury.
And the whole thing is held together by this idea that small, consistent steps are always better than huge, perfect, but sporadic efforts.
Time is precious. Use it wisely, and it works for you.
It's the difference between being ruled by the clock and actually ruling your own schedule.
A really powerful lesson. For you, the listener, just remember those two big takeaways. Time is capital. Manage it with a simple daily list. And second, rest is a mandatory part of that plan, not a prize for finishing.
And if we're really taking that idea of starting small seriously, here's a final thought for you to chew on. Lila proved consistency is key, that 30 minutes a day works. So to jumpstart your own focus and recovery, what's one small task?
Yep.
Maybe for planning, maybe for self-care, that you are willing to commit just 15 minutes to today,
Right now.
right now, just to prove that consistency beats perfection every time.
Start that clock, but start it with intention.
Until next time, manage your resources wisely.